Raymund Kolbe was born on the 8th of January 1894 in Zadunska Wola, which at that time was occupied by Russia. The Kolbe home was poor but full of love. The parents, hard-working and religious, educated their 3 sons with rectitude. Around 1906, an event took place that marks a fundamental milestone in the life of the young boy. His mother herself related the event a few months after her son's martyrdom. I knew ahead of time, based on an extraordinary event that took place in his infancy, that Maximilian would die a martyr. I just don't recall if it took place before or after his first confession. Once I did not like one of his pranks and I reproached him for it. "My son, whatever will become of you?" Later, I did not think of it again, but I noticed that the boy had changed so radically, he was hardly recognizable. We had a small altar hidden between 2 dresses before which he used to often retire without being noticed, and he would pray there crying. In general, he had a conduct superior to his age, always recollected and serious, and when he prayed he would burst into tears. I was worried, thinking he had some sort of illness, so I asked him, "Is there anything wrong? You should share everything with your mommy." Trembling with emotion and with his eyes flooded in tears, he shared, "Mama, when you reproached me, I pleaded with the Blessed Mother to tell me what would become of me. At church I did the same, I prayed the same thing again. So then the Blessed Mother appeared to me holding in her hands 2 crowns, one white the other red. She looked at me with tenderness and asked me if I wanted these 2 crowns. The white one signified that I would preserve my purity and the red that I would be a martyr. I answered that I accepted both of them. Then the Virgin Mary looked at me with sweetness and disappeared. The extraordinary change in the boy's behavior testified to me the truth of what he related. He was fully conscious, and as he spoke to me, with his face radiant, and it showed me his desire to die a martyr. When he was 13 years old, he entered the Franciscan Fathers Seminary in the Polish city of Lvov, which was at that time occupied by Austria. It was in the seminary where he adopted the name Maximilian. He completed his studies in Rome. Before his ordination as a priest in 1918, Maximilian founded the Immaculate movement devoted to Our Lady. He spread the movement through a magazine entitled, The Night of the Immaculata. We should conquer the universe and each soul, now and in the future until the end of time, for the Immaculata and through her for the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Maximilian went to Japan and then on to India, where he furthered the movement. After a few years in Japan, Saint Maximilian was summoned back to Poland, largely due to his ever-declining health. 3 years later, in the midst of the Second World War, he was imprisoned along with other friars and sent to concentration camps in Germany and Poland. In February of 1941 he was again made a prisoner and sent to the concentration camp in Auschwitz, where in spite of the terrible living conditions he continued his ministry. At the end of July 1941, a prisoner escaped from the camp, prompting the deputy camp commander, SS Hauptsturmführer Karl Fritzsch, to pick 10 men to be starved to death in an underground bunker to deter further escape attempts. When one of the selected men, Franciszek Gajowniczek, cried out, "My wife! My children!" Kolbe volunteered to take his place. According to an eyewitness, who was an assistant janitor at that time, in his prison cell Kolbe led the prisoners in prayer. Each time the guards checked on him, he was standing or kneeling in the middle of the cell and looking calmly at those who entered. After they had been starved and deprived of water for 2 weeks, only Kolbe and 3 others remained alive. The guards wanted the bunker emptied, so they gave the 4 remaining prisoners lethal injections of carbolic acid. Kolbe is said to have raised his left arm and calmly waited for the deadly injection. He died on the 14th of August 1941. His remains were cremated on the 15th of August, the feast day of the Assumption of Mary. He was canonized by Saint Pope John Paul II in 1982 as a martyr of charity.